Hello and welcome to another Warcraft 3 commentary. Today's game is going to be played on Last Refuge. We have two players here. One of them is the blue undead player XlorD, aka Long Donding, and his opponent is DeMiGoD, the red orc player who is from Iran. So you might well be familiar with XlorD, but perhaps not as familiar with DeMiGoD here. But he's a really solid player. He's been playing a lot of ladder recently. Also streams on Twitch. Speaking Farsi or Persian. So very, very cool to see an Iranian player in general in Warcraft. I think there actually are a couple. He's not the only one. Either way, we open up here with a Farseer and Headhunter build for DeMiGoD. So DeMiGoD does like to play Headhunters a lot in different matchups. And it seems like he wants to do it against Undead as well. So he's doing it with a 2-burrow tech. So this is like the latest possible tech you can have with a Headhunter build, which will give you a lot of Headhunters early on. So he's going to probably put a lot of emphasis into creeping. Otherwise, you probably prefer to tech faster while getting those Headhunters up and harass more with your Farseer. But DeMiGoD completely ignoring any harassment, just going for those trolls, stealing a very important camp here actually. So the trolls on Last Refuge can drop some very impactful items like Wand of Illusion, Sentry Ward. DeMiGoD ends up getting the worst one, probably the Replenishment Potion, and XlorD shows up just a bit too late. So XlorD kind of sensed something was wrong here. There's no harassment going on, and he has scouted the Headhunter build order, so he realizes if I'm not getting harassed, then my opponent is creeping something. Turns out he was stealing the troll. And this makes it so that DeMiGoD actually gets both of these troll camps. So it's pretty significant here. And there we go, Wand of Illusion. One of those items that might not look too impressive on paper, but man, in the hands of a good player, the Wand of Illusion in the early game is just massive. It's huge. You can use these to scout, can use, and scout very well. So if you cast Illusion on your hero and then just keep tabs on your opponent, not taking too much damage, not letting it die, just letting it run out on the timer, that's a lot of free scouting. You can also use it to tank creeps, and you can basically just control the map with it. It's a very, very significant item here. Meanwhile, XlorD trying to be as annoying as he can once he's got level 2. So he has the Unholy Aura unlocked, which is really what you're looking for, especially with this Ted Fiend build that he's doing. He's not going to have a lot of units out on the map. I mean, this is his first and only unit right now, aggressive unit, the Crypt Fiend here. So this is probably the best thing you can do in XlorD situation. You don't really have any firepower. If you both end up creeping, you're going to get out-crept really very quickly by the Farseer Headhunter player. Look how many Headhunters we have already. So kind of buying time, being annoying, stalling. This is the perfect play for the undead player right now. And DeMiGoD actually using double illusion very, very quickly. So his aim here was to creep the Magi, tank with the illusions, but almost a bit of a waste here, since XlorD was right there. So these are going to run out. We'll try and utilize them best he can until the timer runs out. And he still has one charge left, which he can still utilize. XlorD shows up just in time here to get the coil here, perhaps. No, doesn't go for it. Double skeleton. So I mean, now the skeletons are actually pretty scary when you play Headhunters. A couple of skeletons can definitely snowball. And oh, we actually see a Dark Ranger second for XlorD. Very, very unusual, I suppose, against Headhunters. It makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of low HP units. Getting those black arrows can be very significant, especially in the mid game. And especially if you're afraid of a lot of firepower in the mid game, which with a double burrow tech like this, there definitely is a lot of firepower. Meanwhile, DeMiGoD actually getting the TC second, very, very understandable choice. And an instant tier 3 with a Bestiary. So this looks like he wants to really power up his army by getting the Berserker upgrade, getting a Kodo, getting the upgraded Kodo, and perhaps a third hero like a Shadowhunter or something like that. Meanwhile, XlorD utilizing the black arrows here to creep very efficiently, getting a Great Invulnerability Potion, excellent item. No matter what matchup, no matter what heroes you got, this is just one of the best items you can get. Puts it actually on the Dark Ranger, interesting. And now keeps on his path of creep stealing, as it were. Going for the lab creeps here. Meanwhile, level 3 Farseer is going to run in here with level 2 wolves, trying to kill some acolytes during the tech. Of course, level 2 wolves do kind of grow in thickness, so this should be a solid wall for the wolves, but he might be able to actually cancel the Sigurd, and if he does, that opens the way for these acolytes, and this is a very awkward timing for XlorD because his tech is halfway done. So what do you do here? Do you cancel, or do you just accept the economic loss that you take by losing acolytes. But actually, we're not even seeing any acolytes getting focused. DeMiGoD going strictly for these ziggurats. Interesting choice. Even now, even after denying 2, he's still not switching targets. Let's see if he does so now. Meanwhile, XlorD gets the Book of the Dead, and he might use it to kill burrows here really quickly. Is he going to use it? He does. So this burrow is toast. It's not going to survive. TC's not even level 2, so he has Aura first, no Stomp. Forces the TP on the Farseer with no acolytes being killed. Really, really good use of the Book of the Dead here. An item that's, you know, not going to be very good late game, but amazingly powerful right now. And again, there's no Stomp, so XlorD can be very, very comfortable in this positioning here. He doesn't have to really care about that TC at all. And throwing aggressive coil is really wanting to get that snowball effect, you know, from the black arrows, just killing headhunter after headhunter. There's not a whole lot of firepower for DeMiGoD just yet. I mean, he did go instant tier 3 with the bestiary, so he put a lot of emphasis in his tech at tier 2. And he's kind of suffering for it right now. The wolves really are the savior here. A lot of damage. You can get some critical strikes there. Normal damage, critical strikes on the fiends. Very, very nice. Actually going for the hero focus here. So DeMiGoD is kind of saying, please TP. Please leave my base. I need some time. I want to get my stuff set up. Just leave. Please, please, please. Might even try and get this ensnare on the DK here and then force a TP. There we go. This should be a TP from XlorD. But not before getting the last kill. There we go. So a very, very expensive forced TP, but probably the only thing that DeMiGoD could do in this situation. There's no way he's going to win in a straight up fight. So he forces the TP, actually picks up an Orb of Lightning on the Farseer. This can actually be very nice. I mean, ideally you want to have something like a Blade Master when you have that item, but no matter what hero you put it on, getting that purge effect is very, very nice. And since we do have the Dark Ranger with Black Arrows, you can actually kill summons with it pretty quickly as well. But XlorD definitely transitioning into a very normal game on top of this. Tier 3, Fiends, Statues, Lich. Gonna get an Orb. Probably gonna get a Destroyer or 2, and just, you know, play incredibly standard. Meanwhile, DeMiGoD going for the Ogre Lord. So pulling it out, ensnaring it, surrounding it. Just wants to get that item. And actually, ooh, the Pipe of Insight. So this is Brilliance Aura. One of the best items you could possibly find. Especially when you have the TC, you really don't want to get the TC Aura since they don't stack. But getting the Brilliance here is very, very significant for DeMiGoD. And we'll see if he actually just goes for the second Ogre Lord right away. A lot of times we just kind of fight over these camps, these 2 Ogre Lords, because they do drop such significant items. But XlorD not really rushing them. I mean, he's been spending a lot of time killing these close creeps, which is a very safe play when you're still waiting for everything to kind of line up with your orb and all that. But now everything is in place. Death Knight runs off to check what's going on, and he does see that the Ogre Lord is trying to be crept here, but just showing up like this is enough probably to scare away DeMiGoD. But again, there is the Ensnare, there is the Purge on the Lightning Orb, and there's Stomp now, so Death Knight has to be very careful not to get surrounded all on his own. There is no TP. Still has, double invulnerability now, so he can still be pretty brave here. For sure he wants to put one of those on the Death Knight. There we go. The second one probably on the Lich, to be honest, but it's pretty easy to pass that between the 2 ranged heroes. They're going to be pretty close to each other in a fight. Charging ahead here with the Black Arrows, and I mean, the Dark Ranger makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Since there is no Dispel, and there's probably not going to be any Dispel for a long time, these arrows, these Black Arrows are going to be continually annoying, but we do get that. Oh, nice. Invulnerability pop just before the Stomp, so the Death Knight does survive, taking minimal damage, but that is one of the big imbos forced. It's a small victory for DeMiGoD. Oh, now XlorD is being very brave indeed here. He's kind of creeping right in front of his opponent. This might be a bit of overconfidence. I mean, he does have a lot of skeletons still, and he wants to utilize them before they run out of time, so it makes sense. Selby Mask, excellent item. And we actually have the Hellstone from the laboratory room over here, so that's another top item drop for him. I really want to keep down the Death Knight, since he's the only target here that can't get coiled. So any major healing is going to be perfect for that hero. And DeMiGoD is in a kind of awkward position because he really wants to get level 2 Stomp, but there's really not a lot of creeps left. XlorD's knocking on his door. Do we have... Yeah, we do have Fortified Burrows, so there's not a ton of pressure on DeMiGoD to actually go home right now, and in fact, he might just end up trying to force XlorD to run back. And again, there's no TP on either of these 3 heroes, so if XlorD wants to go back, he has to run to the shop and buy a TP, which is exactly what he's doing here with the Death Knight. And this is the main advantage of the tier 2 fortified burrow upgrade here, is that, you know, there's really never going to be a situation, especially when your opponent has a lot of fiends like this, there's never going to be a situation where they can base trade faster than you when you have these raiders. And wow, DeMiGoD is staying in here. He really wants to kill the Black Citadel. And he's going to get it. Wow. I thought for sure he would TP instantly just to get out of there, but he actually sacrifices a bit of his units just to kill that Black Citadel. And fortunately for XlorD, he still has 4 Acolytes, so almost full mining. But he really needs to instantly rebuild this, and not being able to TP anymore to his main is going to be significantly... They're going to make this game significantly harder for XlorD if DeMiGoD decides to keep doing these shenanigans. And if we just look at the army sizes here, 49 for XlorD and 33 for DeMiGoD. Hero levels much, much higher for XlorD. Items much better for XlorD. So DeMiGoD has every incentive in the world to just keep doing this now that he's actually opened up this can of base slaming. This is probably his key to victory at this point. There we go, the new necropolis from XlorD. Might actually just get cancelled by these wolves, freshly summoned as well, so that's going to be annoying for XlorD as well. And a Zeppelin. So this is what I'm talking about. DeMiGoD, he's actually very good at this style of gameplay, this kind of harass-heavy style. Going instantly for those Acolytes. Oh, unfortunately missed the stomp there for him, but this makes a lot of sense, of course. You know, kill the cancel the necropolis, kill the last remaining Acolytes. If there are no Acolytes and no necropolis, you just kind of win the game. Actually going for the gold mine behind this as well. Probably not enough siege damage to actually kill it. Silence to prevent the stomp on the Acolytes to keep the gold mine alive a little bit longer, but we'll see if he can actually get the kill. Oh, nice stomp, double stomp on the Acolytes, repair being diminished. And there's actually no TP here, so I think I has to be careful. Loses a TC, but kills the gold mine. And he has to get out of here. I mean, if there's no web, there's not going to be any web, because you have to have tier 2 to get it. So DeMiGoD might be very comfortable knowing that there's no web, but also this kind of solid wall prevents any of these units from actually reaching behind here. So even if there is web, the Zeppelin's living a pretty safe life here, since the fiends can't actually get in range to web anything back there. And it looks like, yeah, so DeMiGoD has switched to full base trade mode here, full laming mode, raiders and more raiders. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually end up seeing a second bestiary. And a couple of peons walking over here, so it looks like we're going to set up a couple of towers here while we keep harassing. Very nice. And XlorD actually opened up, killed one of these trees to open up his base a little bit so he can actually reach behind there with his army. So that is pretty cool from XlorD. It's actually just leaving only the Death Knight and the ghouls and sending the army to the base of DeMiGoD. This can be very, very scary to do. I mean, if there's an army drop here, can the Death Knight really do it all by himself? I don't think so. So XlorD definitely has to be careful. He might end up getting a staff of teleportation. If he can afford it. I mean, he might want to sell some items at some point here. Oh, he has to be very careful there. Level 2 Unholy Aura really helping him here. Making sure he doesn't get caught out in a bad position. Meanwhile, significant damage to the main. I mean, forcing the peons into the burrow kind of reduces the income to 0 here. Sniping some raiders, but can't really fight this without coil. We are going to lose a couple of fiends if we aren't careful enough here. And here we go. Death Knight did get caught out. He has a Hellstone, but probably doesn't even want to use it because he's just going to die anyway. Well, he does end up using it. Might have been a mistake, since there's no way you can save this hero anyway. And there we go. That ends up killing the raider at least before dying. And this has forced XlorD back. But again, without any coil here, like the undead army really falls apart when there's no Death Knight. So both of these heroes living kind of dangerously. We still do have that one greater invulnerability potion, which is very, very nice. And the haunted gold mine is complete. And again, he has opened up back here. So if he does have web, which I don't think he does, either way, he can still put his army here now. It's not blocked like he was before. And DeMiGoD obviously instantly putting his peons back to work. So now his income is looking pretty healthy. Goes for that haunted gold mine once again. Just focus firing it with everything he's got. Stomping acolytes to prevent repair. And actually focusing down the acolytes with the ranged units while the siege damage from the raiders. Keep going to work on the actual gold mine itself. Let's see if he can actually get both of these kills. He does not have a TP, so he has to be very, very careful there. There we go. Will the Zeppelin die? Oh my god. Ooh, so it gets away just barely, but it didn't have time to pick up the Farseer or these last two Berserkers, so a very, very expensive attack, but the gold mine's gone. There are no acolytes, but this is the saving grace for XlorD. He does have that Necropolis up, so he can actually get one acolyte, he can sell an item, and start the gold mine once more. And the gold mine's gonna kind of, oh, okay, there's still 3,000 gold left, so it's gonna be a while until the gold mines run out for sure. Tyrant Revive on the Farseer, Healing Salve on both of those heroes. Picks up in the Zeppelin again, so it looks like he wants to go for round 2. Still no TP, so very dangerous, and no reparation on this Zeppelin, so it's living very dangerously right now. XlorD creeping. This makes a lot of sense right now. He needs gold. He needs more experience, more items, especially items that he can sell. Like, yeah, he just got one. Legion Doomhorn, completely useless once the Death Knight's back, which, is he even back? No. So, XlorD, let's see if he prioritizes the hero or the gold mine first. It's not doing anything right now, which is kind of a weird choice. I mean, he does have the Acolyte, does have the gold and the wood to start. Okay, so he prioritizes the Death Knight above all else. He would rather get the Death Knight back than start his gold mine. Which again, like I said before, without a Death Knight, the Undead falls apart instantly. So it is like the most important hero in the game for the Undead player. And since there is a Zeppelin in her ass here, XlorD probably thinking that, well, my gold mine's just going to get killed over and over. Let me at least get my hero back and maybe I can force a fight or do something. But now, I'm actually curious if DeMiGoD has... Looks like he does have Pillage. Yeah, definitely has Pillage, which is a great upgrade when you're doing this type of game. Instant focus on the Zeppelin from XlorD, very smart. Is there a speed scroll? Actually, there's no speed scroll and no TP, so all of these units are living very dangerously. Level 2 Unholy Aura. Make sure that XlorD can keep catching up to these units if he wants to. Meanwhile, he actually left Black Arrowed Skeletons and Fiends to cancel, kill the towers and cancel expansion. Great multitasking by XlorD. Very quick thinking as well. And this is a very scary choice to make. You never want to leave your Fiends alone like this. He's even burrowing defensively, or preemptively rather, to make sure they don't get caught out in a bad position. But the damage has been done, the towers are gone, the expansion has been cancelled. Still though, no mining whatsoever from XlorD, and still a significant amount of gold for DeMiGoD. Let's actually switch real quick and see. So 200 gold and about 1,500 gold left in the main, so he can definitely keep doing this for a while longer before he has to start considering whether or not he wants to actually expand himself. And at this point, it might be too expensive for DeMiGoD to expand. He'd have to set up a lot of towers. Looks like he is going to attempt to do so. But if he just throws up a Great Hall at any of these expansions, he cannot defend it. So I'm not really sure. Perhaps the best thing he can do is just not expand and use every resource he can get to keep chipping away at these buildings. But on the other side, building towers, building expansions is the one way that he can actually force XlorD to move out of this main. If DeMiGoD decides to do nothing as far as expansions goes, then XlorD has no incentive to actually leave the main. He can just camp here, and I guess it turn into a draw eventually. So some serious difficult decision making going into this type of game. Oh, unfortunately for DeMiGoD, this actually hasn't been crept. He probably assumed that at some point XlorD crept this camp. Nice scouting with the black arrows here. Retrain to Shockwave. That's brilliant. So DeMiGoD realizes, just as well as we do, that he can never ever take a straight up fight. So why does he have War Stomp? He doesn't need it. So he retrains the Shockwave. Exclusively going to use it on the buildings, I guarantee you. He's not going to take a fight. He's not going to try and win with the Shockwave. Just going to use it on the buildings here. Very, very cool. Meanwhile, I mean, XlorD, let's just turn on the Fog of War here. He has amazing scouting here. So he's using the Dark Minions here to scout the main and the expansions. He's also leaving Burrowed Cryptfiend here to make sure there's no towers going up here. And a Burrowed Cryptfiend, like, he's basically covering all the entry points of the map. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually does this with the remaining Crypt Fiends, since he's going to win a fight either way, so he might as well use them as scouting tools. Great vision here for XlorD. He knows what's going on. See why we reacts to this. Again, there is no TP, there's no speed scroll, so one bad mistake from DeMiGoD, he can just lose everything. And he can't afford to lose anything. I mean, even though XlorD hasn't been mining for a long time at this point, DeMiGoD still has to be very careful. If he would have lost, if he would lose this Zeppelin, or just lose a couple of units and heroes, he might still lose the game. So it's definitely not over by a long shot. Looks like there was some Black Arrow harass or something going on here. So now 1k gold in DeMiGoD's bank and about 500 in the gold mine. Investing into sappers, wow. Let's see if he can actually manage to pull that off. There are some good spots here to explode between the necropolis and the altar, the cigarette and the shop. Yeah, I mean, every bit of damage helps. So in the long run, this might just be the way that the DeMiGoD can actually win the game. But again, there's no expansion. Gold mine is running out. Sappers are very expensive as well, so you see the mana potion on the TC, so it's going to be a lot of shockwaves. More Black Arrows coming into harass. The experience isn't going to be significant enough. There's no real level up around the corner, so XlorD doesn't have to be too careful with those. And DeMiGoD, every little bit counts. And DeMiGoD really doesn't care if he feeds the heroes at all. I mean, for about 20 minutes he hasn't been able to win a straight up fight, so it's definitely worth just getting a couple hits in with some wolves, even if it costs a lot of experience on the undead heroes. It's just not going to matter. Keep seeing this great kind of splitting from XlorD, checking stuff with his heroes, attacking. I guess he wanted to check if he could get a black arrow effect on the critter, but you cannot do that, unfortunately. Nice burrow here from the Crypt Fiend. So he has both of these avenues kind of in check. Oh, catches a sapper. Amazing. I'm really curious now. So yeah, DeMiGoD does not have a tiny great hall. Does not seem to have any intention really. If he wants to expand, he has to do it right now. He can afford a tiny great hall, and it might be worth it to get one. Because if you put it down here and it goes up, that's a lot of HP that XlorD has to actually kill. And it's one way to draw him out of the base, but it looks like DeMiGoD is going to try his best to win this with the gold that he has. Or not. I'm not really sure what these peons are going to do. This is such a weird game to actually be casting him. I'm not really sure. Like, I'm trying to think, if I was in DeMiGoD's shoes, what would I do right now? And I think what I would have done is trying to get a tiny great hall. But, oh, this is his chance here. A very slow drop. A quick tip if you're watching this, if you actually manually click the Zeppelin, you drop your units a lot quicker than using the unload button. Oh, well, okay, so there's no TP, but there's double teleportation staff, so it's basically a free TP on cooldown. Really cool. So, oh, a slow great hall and a couple of towers going up now. DeMiGoD also scouting really well here. He's got the wolves checking one avenue, Zeppelin hovering over the trees in the forests. Wow.
Our town is under attack.
I'm so curious what's going to happen right now. I mean, DeMiGoD isn't doing a lot of damage to the buildings, but neither is XlorD. I mean, DeMiGoD has a lot of buildings left as well, so at some point, XlorD has to start chipping away at those if he wants to actually win the game. So he can't just sit here. If both players just sit there, nobody's going to win. So we'll see who has the guts to act first. And it's obviously going to be DeMiGoD, since he has he has the best tools to actually kill buildings. So he drops the TC just to get one single shockwave on the slaughterhouse. It must be very frustrating for XlorD, who is continually checking here.
Work complete.
but actually not checking this base. If we actually switch to XlorD's point of view, he's checking these expansions, but he hasn't checked this one in a while. He's going to pick up a third Staff of Teleportation, put one on the Dark Ranger, or like an Invulnerability Potion. I'm honestly surprised he doesn't just sell something and try to rebuild the gold mine. He has a lot of units and a lot of high-level heroes right now. Offensive Coil. Oh, nice little shockwave. Chipping away. Slowly but surely. And every time you throw a shockwave and do a little bit of damage and don't lose anything, that's a win for you, if you're the orc in this situation. So I'm going to keep Fog War on at this point just to see what both players are seeing right now. So the Zeppelin Scout here. The Great Hall is actually going up, so... Oh, we saw a staff somewhere. Just trying to get some more black arrows going. Meanwhile, DeMiGoD drops another shockwave.
Work complete.
But this is, I mean, this hasn't gone scouted. We should be seeing one of these black arrow minions, dark minions, going scouting. But actually, the Crypt Fiend here on burrows to check. And XlorD is in for a rude awakening right now. He's not going to be happy to see. The towers are one thing, but seeing the Great Hall actually finished is huge, because that's so many hit points represented there that, you know, have to be slowly reduced with the piercing damage army. Another shockwave. Level 5 Death Knight. Very close to level 5 Lich as well. Nice Zeppelin micro here again from DeMiGoD. A counter Zeppelin. Interesting choice. So if there's a Zeppelin above the forest and you're not really sure where it is or what it's doing, you can always get your own Zeppelin and just kind of move commanded on that Zeppelin. But you have to be very careful in XlorD situation, in XlorD shoes right now, because obviously a single Ensnare will bring this down, and it'll be a dead investment. Oh, this is actually really cool. So there is like there's a a limit to how far from the map you can actually leave the Zeppelin. So XlorD slowly but surely, nice. Slowly but surely getting some damage in there, but DeMiGoD drops the Raider just to ensnare and then run away. Costume the Raider. Ooh, was that a Crystal Ball? Yeah, so XlorD has the Crystal Ball. Tries to chip away at the Zeppelin, but at this point, I mean, the Great Hall is finished, and it's actually too far away, I think. I think it's like half a step too far away from the gold mine. But 3 towers are up. These peons can easily be converted to Dark Minions, though, which looks like we're going to see here. Do we have the triple staff at this point? Yes, so triple staff teleportation on these heroes. Whenever XlorD wants to, he can staff all 3 of those heroes home. Just going for the towers at this point. And I think I heard a bat being made. The anti-Zeppelin bat, I suppose. Oh, so actually, DeMiGoD has an opportunity to go for the hero, but he's probably he's just ignoring it. He doesn't care at all. He's just going for the buildings. We should see the XlorD hero staffed back. There we go. Actually, they just run back. And DeMiGoD is completely ignoring XlorD's army. Just going for buildings. Losing Raider after Raider. Lining up for a nice shockwave. Hitting both the Necropolis and the altar. Meanwhile, fiends and statues slowly but surely taking down the expansion. And DeMiGoD ejects. He leaves this base for now. Both Zeppelins kind of hurt. Oh, really cool move by XlorD actually. So he ran back his heroes rather than staffing them, so that he later could staff back into the fight with his Dark Ranger. Such a quick thinking. Now he's going to convert all of these peons into Dark Minions, and there's a lot of them as we speak. So normal damage is very, very nice against this fortified armor here. So it should actually go down fairly quickly, and DeMiGod's broke now. He's going to invest what little gold he has left into more Raiders, probably some mana potions and clarities, maybe a speed scroll. 1 speed scroll, 1 clarity, 1 potion of healing, interesting choice. And the Great Hall has gone down. Look at all of those Dark Minions doing so much damage here. All the while, XlorD sitting very safe with both his heroes here. Wow. And at this point, like, it really is DeMiGoD's time to act. Because on the battlefield, he's never, ever going to win a fight. He has to win by base trade. And XlorD now is actually representing some threat. Slowly but surely, these fiends and this Dark Ranger will kill buildings. And at some point, I mean, these are the only buildings that DeMiGoD has. So eventually they will go down. He's basically playing on a clock right now. Ooh, trying to intervene, but again, there's double telestaff on the XlorD, so you can instantly just jump back. Oh, nice snipe on the fiend. So DeMiGoD sees the telestaff on the Death Knight and just runs away. It's time to go for the base again, I suppose. Or not. Just sending the wolves. But there is a Lich waiting here for him. Ready with a Nova. A level 3 Nova, no less. It looks like DeMiGoD is actually trying to defend here.
We're under attack.
But I don't think he can really do anything here. Wolves taking some damage. Lich not really aware of it. He should instantly Nova this once he sees them.
Our town is under attack.
Yeah, there we go. Alright, I'm going to turn on Fog of War again because I really want to see what each player is seeing right now. So XlorD leaving the fiends to slowly but surely kill these buildings.
Our town is under attack.
Nice little Nova here. I actually put the, I didn't mention this, but he put the Orb of Corruption on the Death Knight to give him an air attack to be able to attack the Zeppelin. Which is a very cool move. Using it, I mean, why not? You have a lot of mana, you have high level nukes, just use it on the wolves. Excellent use of the Crystal Ball as well. So he sees the Farseer and Tarn Chieftain coming, so he kind of staffs in to his fiends. Interesting choice to staff in the Lich and the Dark Ranger, but leaving the Death Knight. So XlorD kind of anticipating that once DeMiGoD sees that there's so much threat up here, he's going to go back down. So kind of blindly moving the heroes down, but it's obviously the right choice. And here we go. Bat comes in, and the Bat's actually being used on the building as well, ignoring the Zeppelin. Oh, there's actually, there's the Zeppelin, but DeMiGoD completely ignoring the Zeppelin, just going for the buildings. Raider, oh my god, he actually dodges the Coil Whip by picking up with the Zeppelin. Keeps attacking the buildings. This Farseer is so dead, but GG. Wow. That was really on a knife's edge right there. If DeMiGoD didn't win right then and there, he would lose the game because everything is going to go down. Really, really cool game. Interesting that it evolved into this type of game, despite the fact that DeMiGoD went for a Farseer Headhunter opener. Usually with a Headhunter build, you're not going to be laming at all because you have basically the same type of army as your undead opponent, which is a lot of piercing damage. So usually it'll lead into a more straight up fight game. But DeMiGoD saw the opportunity to go for it, and he just realized that, you know, I'm not going to win a straight up fight, but I can win by doing this, and that's exactly what he did. So really cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.